welcome back to Football United TV. I'm your host, Matt King, and we're here with Dan, Arsenal fan. And you have bragging rights against me right now, don't you? Because you beat us 2-0 at the Emirates Stadium last week, Wednesday, New Year's Day. So let's just quickly talk about that. How do you feel about that result for you, being under Arteta recently? Yeah, what do you make of that?
Well, I thought since Arteta's arrival, there were good signs in the Chelsea game. I thought we were unlucky to lose. We had a really good first half, but then we seemed to sit back and soak up a lot of their attacks and a lot of their pressure, and it just apart in the end. Obviously, I think Jorginho still being on the pitch at the end of the game made a big difference in that. Maybe he should have had a second yellow, but whatever. Then coming into the United game, I know a lot of Arsenal fans were worried that we were going to get absolutely trounced. But I kind of went into that game confident. I felt like the signs were there in the Chelsea game. If we could show that same level of enthusiasm under this new manager for the United game, I just thought the ball was in our court, so to speak. Also, Matt, I will say I am a bit of a good luck omen. So the last Premier League home game I went to was the Bournemouth game, which I went to with Dad. We won that 1-0. It was a real dull game. Arsenal hadn't won a Premier League game since that match until New Year's Day against United, when I managed to wangle it from who you will see in the vlog. Regarding the result, yeah, I felt first half we were excellent. United were poor. We took advantage of United's poor form. Second half, it felt like we kind of had to sit a bit, and similar to the Chelsea game where we sat, and we soaked up a lot of attacks from United and didn't really threaten as much in the second half. But I thought we were very good first half, and yeah, just generally the atmosphere in the Emirates was much better than it had been previous games. As I said, it was that Bournemouth game, it was really flat. And the other game I've been to this season was the Europa League game against Vitória, the Portuguese side, which again was a bit flat. And we scraped a win there at the end. But yeah, it's just nice that the crowd are reinvigorated under a new manager.
Well, let's have a look at that vlog that you sent us of that day, and we'll check it out right now.
Come on then, let's do this. 1-0 to Arsenal. That time we got a goal. Arsenal. 2-0 to the Arsenal. Supporters Pamasopoulos. Volleys it into the roof of the net.
2-0 half-time in the Emirates. It's been a good first half. It's shown some really promising signs. The atmosphere in the Emirates is just a whole lot better generally, and looking forward to the second half. We're all enjoying it. Come on the Arsenal. 2-0! We won again! 2-0. Not the best second half, but yeah, it's all good.
What do you make of that in the Premier League for you, Arsenal? You know, like you're pushing up in the table, that lowers Man United's position down a little bit. They wanted to catch up to Chelsea. What do you make of that for your league position?
I think it's good. I think I still think top four is out of the question this season. I think this season has been a bit of a write-off from an Arsenal perspective. They probably should have changed management way earlier than they did, and then even after sacking them, not getting Arteta in as rapidly as they could have done, but that seems very Arsenal anyway, sitting on their hands, not making bold decisions. But as league table goes, yeah, it's good that we're piling on some pressure on those teams above us, the likes of Spurs, United, Wolves and Sheffield United, which, it's surprising for me to say that we'll be looking to try and catch them in the table, but they've been absolutely flying, and fair play to both those clubs. The managers have done an excellent job. The teams have both been excellent. but we'll see. It's still, we're just over halfway through the season. I still think realistically, top 6 is possible, but I don't know. You just don't know, do you? Like, this could be, like a purple patch under a new manager. Arteta has, he's roused players. I just want to see if he can continue to do so.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. It looks like he's rejuvenated a lot of the players. He's got the best out of the players, and he wants to send youth out and get them more experience and game time for the oncoming next season and so forth. What do you make of his plan to reshape the club and the team and to follow his philosophy, which is completely different to obviously Emery's and Wenger's?
Yeah, well, we, as an Arsenal fan, and a lot of Arsenal fans will agree with me, that no one really knew what Emery's philosophy was game to game. You saw the stats that Arsenal were conceding way more shots than they'd ever conceded against any club in their history. And just the style of play under Emery wasn't good. It wasn't the way we want Arsenal to be playing. And I think Arteta being the second-hand man to Pep Guardiola, I'm sure he'll take a lot of what Pep's been doing with City and try and integrate that into Arsenal himself. It's nice having Arteta back. He loved being at Arsenal. He feels like, although he isn't technically one of our own because he was an Everton player before that and a Rangers player before that, he does feel like one of ours, and it's nice to have one of ours back. And I do think it'll be interesting to see how he integrates some of the youth. Obviously, since he's been in, he's really got Reece Nelson back in the squad when Reece Nelson sort of looked sidelined for a while under Emery. He started the season, the likes of Bukayo Saka were choices that Emery would rather, who were names on the team sheet before the likes of Nelson. So, and that reintegration was rewarded on Monday night with his goal in the FA Cup against Leeds. All right, it was a scruffy goal, but he was persistent the whole game. He was making difficult runs for the defenders to deal with, and he warranted that goal. Scrappy and scruffy as it was, fair play to him. He's a goal for the club, long overdue for him. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how Arteta reshapes the team, integrates some of the youth, maybe let some players fall by the wayside. I do feel like this might be Mustafi's last season. I'll be surprised if he lasts even the January transfer window. But again, we're light on our feet in defence, so I could be completely wrong there. And I just, do you know what? I hope that Arteta is as good as management as it seems he is, and he can get the best out of someone like Pepe, because that'll be really exciting if he can get the best out of Pepe, because he really feels like he's probably underperformed considering his price tag.
So what did you make of the Leeds game? Obviously, the first half, from any pundit in the world would have said Leeds were very dominant. They had 3 chances where they could have gone up, maybe 2 or 3-0. Yeah, like definitely very clear-cut chances. And then Arsenal come out. I think they got a boot up the backside from Arteta, and they came out and showed what they were meant to do. What did you make of the first half, to be fair? Because it seemed to me like it was old days of Arsenal, not knowing what they should be doing, where they should be playing, and the philosophy that they are looking at right now. It didn't look like they had any infrastructure in the first half, but it changed. Yeah, what did you make of that?
I just think, I can't remember who it was, but one of the players came out and said what was said to you at half-time by the manager, and he said, I can't remember, but there was a lot of shouting. So basically, Arteta's gone in for a completely different approach as a manager of rousing the players and getting in their ear. Whereas, under the Wenger eras, they used to go in at half-time and Wenger didn't say anything to them. He barely said anything to them. Wenger was always football should be like jazz and players should be able to make their own decisions, and I've coached them in this way and I shouldn't have to say anything, and they should trust their own ability. Whereas I kind of, maybe we've missed someone like Arteta who's not afraid to give players a bit of the hairdryer treatment, and they probably rightly deserved that after that first half performance. Obviously, Leeds were dominant. They are a great side, They're doing very well in the Championship. We might actually see them return to the Prem, which would be wonderful. Be great for United fans as well to get that rivalry going again between Leeds and United. And they were unlucky. They hit the bar. Martinez was forced to make some really excellent saves. And I think the hairdryer treatment that they must have got from Arteta at half-time changed the way Arsenal approached the second half. It wasn't great. They did the job, which was to see us through to the next round, the FA Cup, a competition where we've won the most. We'd love to win again. I think Arteta's really got to set his sights on either the FA Cup and the Europa League, because Premier League's just trying to finish as high as you can now. But if you want to win some silverware, they're the only two competitions we're left in. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And that second half was pleasing because the first half wasn't great. And again, I'll have to mention someone like Emi Martinez, who hasn't really played much this season, but when he's been called upon, excellent, and he made some excellent saves in that Leeds match that really kept us in the game. I remember one in the second half as well. Just he has got some ability, and it's a shame it's taken him to his late 20s to kind of get the platform to show that. But maybe he'll apply some pressure to Leno, but I think he'll be he's a good number 2 to have at the club.
This weekend against Crystal Palace, your bogey team, Zaha, does very well against you. What do you think's going to happen? What are your predictions, and how do you think Arsenal should line up?
I'm going to have to just be optimistic and think we can actually go there and win. But knowing Palace, knowing Zaha really wants to keep himself in the shop window to get a big money move, even though the price tag on the player is ridiculous. He's a great player, but he's not an £80 million player, not in his mid-late 20s.
Where has this come from? Why is he put up to that amount without really playing? All right, he's played for Crystal Palace. He's done very well in the Premier League, considering, but he hasn't really been at the top level. He was at Man United, didn't do very well, but then he wasn't given the chance really in retrospect. Why is this an 80 million thing? Is it Crystal Palace holding tight and saying, well, people are worth a lot of money these days. You can have a player that doesn't play a lot and still could be sold for 50, 60 million. Is that what's going on? Is it just getting as much as you can from a deal like that?
I just think it's because he's their star man, and if they're going to let him go, they've got to rebuild around the team. They've got to restructure the team, and he's so important to the side that actually, if they let him go, they're going to have to sign 2 or 3 players, which would probably come to around that amount of money. So that's my only reason for it. But then, I can't even think if they spent big in the summer. I can't think of any big signings. But they sold Wan-Bissaka for 65 mil. I can't remember now. 45 million? Was it more?
It was around about 60 mil, yeah.
Yeah, so that, they've got money from that I can't remember them reinvesting in a new player this season. And they're doing well. They're doing all right, Palace, mid-table. But that's the only place I can think it's come from. I think they've slapped 8 million on him because they think if we sell him, we're going to have to buy 2 or 3 new players, and that's what the cost of those 2 or 3 players is going to cost. That's that. Going to Selhurst Park this Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. I just hope Arteta can get the squad up for it. We've got a terrible away record generally. Better this season than the previous season and possibly the season before. I think he's just got to remind the players how it is to get up the league to make sure that we can contest for Champions League football if at all possible. I mean, we're literally hoping on Chelsea to continue to slip up, but who can call it with Chelsea? Some matches, they're amazing. That Spurs game, they were phenomenal. Second half against Arsenal, they were really good, but first half they were mediocre. So it's hard to say. I fancy us to go to Palace and win, but I'd take a draw.
So what is your prediction then of the game, Dan? If you had to put a bet.
If I had to put a bet on it, I'd say 2-1 Arsenal, I think. Obviously in there. I'm going to go Pepe to score again because I just feel like, I don't know, he's had a week of training under Arteta, another week under him, and maybe some more man management. And Aubameyang get one as well. And then probably Zaha to score for Palace. Couldn't tell you what the lineup was. Probably Leno, Kolasinac, left back. Right back's probably Maitland-Niles. He's been very good at right back again. Centre pairing would be will be Socrates and Luiz. Then we'll see this continuation of the Torreira Xhaka defensive midfield pairing, and then your front three of Lacazette. Oh, front four will be Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe, and Özil to make a diamond. And Özil's looking reinvigorated under Arteta, but we all know what Özil was like. He'll probably have a cold for Saturday's midday game, and he won't be able to play. But hopefully he'll prove me wrong. He'll prove all Arsenal fans wrong. Continue to impress us and show why, as fans, we've stuck by and been loyal to him. He's been well below average.
Well, I think Crystal Palace are going to win 2-1.
Ooh.
And I think Zaha will be one of the goal scorers. I'm not going to say who else I think because I can't really put a name to the goal. He'll either get
Benteke,
or he's going to get one. That's why.
What about Benteke? What about Benteke?
I still think
he's the sort of player he'll crop up and score a goal against Arsenal when he's not scored in forever how long. Who is the other striker? Is it Ayew? Jordan Ayew?
Yeah.
And they've still got Connor Wickham at the club. I never fathomed Connor Wickham's career, bless him.
I know.
Or they will get a penalty at Milivojevic. There you go. That's where the other goal come from. We called it.
Well, if you're going to say that, but you said 2-1 to Arsenal, so you won't want him. Is he going to be the one scorer for Crystal Palace?
Maybe not, because I feel like maybe the defensive coaching's been improved because 2 clean sheets. It's early doors, isn't it? But remember Arsenal in the opening few games, we're giving away penalties left, right, and centre, going to ground too easy, making silly tackles. I reckon someone like Arteta's come in and gone, stop going to ground, stop making ridiculous last-minute tackles, stay on your feet. If you're going to foul, do it well away from the 18-yard box. Do it at the halfway line. If you need to make tactical fouls like that, don't do it anywhere near our goal where, poachers like good free kick takers, like Milivojevic is a good free kick taker as well. But they don't give them those opportunities. And I don't mind that bit of cynicism because all good clubs do it. Manchester City are excellent at playing slightly cynical football and making those sort of fouls well away from their goal. So, I'm sticking 2-1 Arsenal. You can stick 2-1 Palace. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, I just was peace and love. I was like, peace on the result, but really, that's the result. Either way, I don't know. Dan, thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you everybody for tuning in. We are at 194 subscribers. We're 6 away from the 200 mark.
Come on!
We're getting there. It's very tough.
Do it.
Thank you very much, too, for helping us out.
You're welcome, mate.
The league this weekend. We've obviously had the Carabao Cup in the last few days. Man United losing 3-1 to Man City, and Leicester and Aston Villa 1-1. Well, for Aston Villa and Leicester, it's kind of all square, isn't it? It depends on the next game. Man United are pretty much out, I think, Dan, don't you think, from that?
I know, mate. You had a great result there in the league. That was a really good result there in the league. Could you do it again?
Yeah, sorry, but mate, in the Premier League, we beat them already this season, but it was away.
That's what I'm saying, but can you find that same tenacity that you showed in the Premier League and import it into your EFL Cup push?
I don't think so. I think it's all over, to be fair. But Dan, thank you very much for joining us. And everybody, please do subscribe, share, like, do what you can. And have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.